involved, and you came to work out, and you did awesome. So the chat topic that I'm going to direct today is cardio, exercise, and the heart muscle. So why is it good to put cardio, endurance exercises into your training program? Well, your heart is one of your big, huge muscles that is super important to your body. Without your heart pumping your blood and letting it flow to the rest of your body, you have nothing. Not nothing, but you need that heart pumping good in order to take care of yourself and have you be able to do regular activities like, walking to the grocery store even. You need to have a good pumping heart muscle so that it gets blood through your system and helps you breathe properly, get your oxygen flow going. The heart is a super important muscle, and you don't want to, and it's not one that you want to mess with. You don't want to not take care of your heart, because the things that happen when you don't take care of your heart are scary. High blood pressure, stroke, heart disease. When you have a stroke, oxygen gets cut off to your brain, and you could be you could be brain damaged. You could have things happen to you. My grandmother had a stroke, and it ended up taking her life eventually, but for years she was partially paralyzed, and that's what happens when you have a stroke sometimes. And so in order to take care of yourself and make sure that you don't get heart disease, to make sure that your arteries don't clog, you need to do cardio exercise, and you need to do it continuously. You need to get yourself to a level of exertion where you're actually making yourself work, and you're making that blood pump, and you're getting yourself active. Because physically inactive people are more susceptible to those things that I talked about: blood clots, stroke, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Because physical inactivity, when you're physically inactive, that allows for your arteries to clog up. They get deposits of calcium and other sediments that are actually inside of your veins. And that's what causes those heart disease problems and stroke, is that the blood can't flow through your veins and get to your heart muscle to help it pump properly. So you have to keep your blood moving so that it doesn't clog up. And it will clog up if you're not being active. If you're being physically inactive, you will get blood clots, and you will be more at risk for strokes, heart disease, and everything else that I've said already. So you need to make sure that you're out there getting some cardio exercise so that your heart gets pumping and that you're working. So how do you know? What is the range that you want to work at? Because some days, you've heard of low impact activity and high impact activity, and there is a range of effect that it has on your heart. When you get into a cardiovascular workout, you want to be at around a 5 or a 6 in your perceived exertion scale. So what is a perceived exertion scale? Well, the real scale is quite mathematical, and it's got a few calculations to it. But if you don't want to get too crazy with mathematics, an easy way to think about your perceived exertion scale is take a ranking system from 1 to 10. And you can just make it up yourself. It doesn't have to, it's not a terribly out there kind of formula. Like, you got a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being the hardest that you work, 1 being the not hardest that you work. So let's say that you're going to say number one on your perceived exertion scale is laying in bed watching television. Because there you are hardly exerting yourself at all. Your exertion rate is close to 1. And then let's say that your high activity level, where you are jogging for an hour at like an insane pace up a hill and you're about to die when you're finished, well, that would be a number 10 on your perceived exertion scale. So 1 is basically not doing anything and laying down, or like your heart rate is resting at nothing, so it's not hard. It's a 1. It doesn't take a lot to do. And 10 is the hardest activity, the hardest workout that you're doing. The hardest workout you've done ever would be a 10. So on most of your days, you want to be at level 5 or 6 for at least 30 minutes. So at least 4 to 5 times a week. You want to get your heart rate pumping for 30 minutes up to that 5 or 6 level so that you're getting good blood flow and allowing your heart to function properly. If you're doing stronger, more intense interval training, then you want your peaks to be at 9 and your lows to be at 4. So depending on the type of training that you're doing, like if you're doing, like I said, intense interval training, get up to the 9 and then take your recovery at 4s. But everyone else, if you're just out for general fitness, you want to have 30-minute workouts at least every day, and you got to get that cardio pumping. So for at least 30 minutes, you want to be challenging your heart so that it pumps things through. And there's a lot of different ways to get cardio activity. It's not just running, it's not just aerobics class. Things like gardening can be cardiovascular activity. Again, those activities will be lower on your perceived exertion scale. Like, let's say you've got a nice garden and you don't have too many weeds. Well, your gardening might only be a 2 or 3 on a perceived exertion scale, where, you know, if you're a farmer out there sowing your crops, then you might have a higher perceived exertion for your gardening. Again, that scale is all about you, the perceived exertion, and how hard am I working at this moment, how hard am I working at this moment, and you want to find that balance in between that you're getting to at least 3 times a week, so that you can create a healthy heart, get the blood flowing, because you don't want to have clotted arteries, because those lead to bad things. So start working out, or keep working out, increase your workout activity so that you can stay strong with your heart and keep loving yourself, because I love you. I don't even know you, but I love you anyway, as you should love yourself. Because you are important. Without yourself, what do you have? Well, your friends and your family, but they'll love you better too if you love yourself the most. So that's it for today. Happy Valentine's Day!